What up, buddy? My name is Eric, and today we're going to be talking about the Disney hack. Now, this is coming from Nullbulge. As far as I know, I was the first person to ever talk about the Nullbulge group, or Nullbulge. I'm just going to call them Nullbulge because I don't believe there's a group involved, but I could be proven wrong. Now, Nullbulge was, for those of you who remember, the BeamNG hackers, the people who uploaded the, as they would call it, honeypot mods. That's Nullbulge. And they know who I am, so they'll probably watch this video. They posted a screenshot of my video on their Twitter, so we kind of got a thing going on. So what they've done now is kind of different from their other, because they call themselves a hacktivist group, and most of their targets had been on either people who had pirated from artists, especially independent artists, because they would call themselves an independent artist advocacy group. So like this guy who's a big YouTuber, and I think he'd downloaded some pirated mods and got ratted. They did that around this time, so I imagine that's how they got into this guy's computer. They said that they'd gotten into Disney, and I kind of brushed it off. I wasn't sure what they had done, and I didn't think it was going to be all that much. And they also got this crypto project that didn't even care enough to tell anyone they'd been hacked, so okay. Then there was the Comfy Vision, LLM Vision thing, which I investigated, but I didn't report on because it seems like the biggest thing these people want. I actually said to one person, it's kind of like a Scooby-Doo villain, where I kind of got the vibe they were really seeking to scare people away from things they don't approve of, like piracy and AI, by doing things like this. So I kind of thought, I'm not going to give them attention. But one of the nastier things they do is they leak the person's information, like this Rob Laughter guy. They did actually upload his a Stealer log containing his information that to me looks like it was probably real. Then they put out another preview, and they get ready to release some stuff from Disney. Now here we got some conservative Christian site, I think, and some unrelated sites because some service provider they used had a security problem and they just felt like dumping all of this. And then we get to what we were after, Disney's internal Slack. Now they kind of hyped this up, and they tried posting this on 4chan, and from what I could see, it didn't actually go very well, and it wasn't the big success. They thought it was going to get more attention than it did, but the mainstream media is talking about this. I actually spoke to a journalist because I'd made the video and he wanted to know what I knew about this. So there is definitely, they've been getting some attention out of this because as far as I can tell, this is real. So what I think happened is this guy, who unfortunately they've leaked a trove of his information, which is ridiculous. I mean, okay, maybe he downloaded a pirated BeamNG mod, so you're going to leak his social security number. Guys, you get the problem here. And through that, they exfiltrated a terabyte of data from the development Slack of his employer. Now, if you Google this name, you can easily verify this person does work for Disney as a developer. You can pretty quickly find his GitHub, where we can see some of his development work. And it looks like he's good at this, and he's done a lot of stuff over the years, and he doesn't seem like a bad guy. But he's also, as we can see from his GitHub, he seems to like playing video games, and he probably downloaded something on Modland by mistake and had no idea this was going to result in such a massive mess. Now, I imagine, given Disney is both a very large and very powerful company, they're going to do something about this, because this Nullbulge group does not have the best OPSEC. First of all, in their initial BeamNG virus, the Clipper used exchange deposit wallets. One of them is a Kraken wallet, and the other one, if you trace it long enough, you can quickly find a Bybit account. So that's not useful to random people like myself, but law enforcement is actually able to subpoena that information and get who this really is. So I imagine they're going to be arrested fairly soon. It was also determined by a friend of the channel that the person is on the Pacific time zone from the fact that on their GitHub, their commits were clearly showing that their computer was set to Pacific Standard Time. So that means that they're either in the US or Canada, which means they can easily be extradited to the US. So ultimately, I don't think this group is going to have a long life. So it went to where every cyber criminal goes, although unlike most cyber criminals, they're not really in this for money. They're in this for, I guess, to create fear and to get some degree of attention, because any attention is good attention. So they dropped Disney's internal Slack on breach forums, and that's actually how they got a lot of attention to various dark web intelligence accounts that immediately tweeted out about this. Hi there, folks. It is us again. Yesterday we leaked some small DB. Now we leak the big guns. 1.1 terabytes, TB of data, almost 10,000 channels, every message and file possible dumped, unreleased projects, raw images and code, some logins, links to internal API and web pages. So there could be additional security problems that could come from other groups that might go through this and may have more malicious intentions than these people do. And then they immediately get quoted. Are there logins of Disney games? Everyone here, which is kind of funny, wanted Club Penguin. Now, will they have Club Penguin? I don't know. I mean, if they were just dumping Slack, I don't know a lot about Slack, but I would doubt that there's going to be Slack messages from before 2016, but maybe someone will be able to pivot in and get the Club Penguin source code, which would actually be if there was something interesting to come out of this. And then someone's calling it the 4chan leak, because before posting it on here, Nullbulge tried to post it on 4chan. And 4chan apparently took this down, which is surprising because 4chan isn't really known for censorship. And Mr. Bulge is getting a bit frustrated here because some of the breached posters think that he's re-uploading it. And he says, I'm the one who made it. Thank you for this awesome breach. What boards are you active on there? That's kind of a weird question. And here's another question about Club Penguin and Club Penguin Island. Was data pulled from the Slack service, or someone must have leaked it? No, they hacked it. This person is desperate for those Club Penguin leaks. Well, I hope they find what they're looking for. I kind of feel this person's kind of holes. Wait, this is one account, one post. So 2 different people posted anything about Club Penguin or Club Penguin Islands. That's kind of cool. In fact, they probably just made this account on breach forums because they wanted their Club Penguin deets. Kind of respect that. The other forum that Nullbulge use is cracked.io. Now, interestingly, this sale of OpenAI keys is one of the earliest date things they've ever done before they even registered their first ClearNet domain, which is kind of interesting. I believe this came from the Comfy UI, which actually must have started, I'd assumed it was May, but it must have been April looking at that. So they didn't actually post the Disney one, just the other ones, but this was initially their main stomping ground. Now, they don't charge money for their leaks, but on these sites, because of how they work, they do put them behind these content lockers where you have to reply if you want to get that. And of course, I don't really get why so many of these hacking forums do this, because it just gets these utterly useless replies. One other kind of interesting thing about how this person operates is that I'm not sure if they've got a custom setup or if they're simply buying these accounts, and maybe this is more common than I thought. If you know about this, you can comment. Is they actually use a network of hacked Amazon S3 accounts as sort of a shadow CDN. And I have sort of reverse engineered this. I got their domains, and I have been able to scrape some of their malware samples through this. So what they do is they'll take over these S3s, and then they'll use them to host the payload. As a result, of course, it's easy enough to traverse because it's got to be public, but I guess it saves them from bandwidth and gives them more anonymity because ultimately the investigation is just going to come back to the legitimate owner who is actually a victim. And it's also being reported by VX Underground, which is one of the biggest cybersecurity accounts, pointing out they leaked it and that their website is off. I thought this too a while ago. What it seems like to me, and we can test this with the VPN, is we can just change our VPN address. Okay, it's not doing that for me anymore. But for a while, whenever I would use an American NordVPN address, the site wouldn't load, but when I used a Canadian, it did. So I don't know if they got some weird settings going on there, but the site is up. It probably won't be up for a lot longer, but given this is a torrent download, you can't exactly censor that. So that's going to be all. This is just going to be a quick update. When we receive total confirmation of who is behind this, I do plan on posting a part 3. I've got a decent idea, but I'm not the type of person to dock someone on a suspicion. There would need to be very hard evidence. But it seems like the suspect's information has entered the public domain, regardless of my wishes. So it's possible that may become more well-known shortly. So that's going to be all for now. Bye.